Everybody, I'd like to thank you for checking us out here at Academic Wave, where smart is the new cool. Today is the last class before our presentations. So y'all already know how we get down. Before we even get started, all right? Before we even get started, go ahead and let's go through the roll call. Let me see who's in the building today. If you happen to be with us and want to participate, first of all, thanks for joining. Second of all, go ahead and wipe your feet off, get comfortable, put your name in the chat, put your grade in the chat, put your city in the chat, put where you're represented in the chat, anything you would like us to know, even your favorite emoji, it doesn't matter. So we're going to take a couple of seconds to get ready for the rest of the class. So go ahead, let me see those names, everything else in the chat, and we'll go ahead and get started right about now here at Academic Wave, Social Studies, the fundamentals. Let's go. Ronnie, what's going on, big timer? That's what's up. Let's go. Wildcat 71, let's go. Amaris, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Zoe, what's good? Campus life, what's happening, man? Thank you for joining. Here we go. I see we have some family in the building. What's going on, superstar auntie Aunt Lois? What's going on, cuz? What's going on, Jarella? Here we go. There we go. A lot of support in the building. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We are about to get started right about now. Okay, so again, thank you. This is the last day before our presentations that we'll all do tomorrow via Zoom. So we're going to go over, we're going to review what we've talked about on Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to put the finishing touches on this today. And today we're going to talk about specifically making connections and how to state your case. And remember, we're doing college level material right here. So this is exactly what we're going to get down to. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, here we go. Go ahead and get loose. Let's get ready. There we go. First up, let's go ahead and go over what we've done so far and what we're actually going to do today. This will be really cool. Okay, so first things first, you chose a topic that interests you. Remember, a topic that you feel that we should know more about when it comes to history and social studies, something that's normally not included within our class, all right? So once you chose a topic, then you went ahead and selected 3 to 5 primary sources. Now, initially, I had everybody select 5 primary sources, but that's okay. If you weren't able to get to 5, as long as you have 3, thumbs up, all right? So we're gonna move along. We chose a topic, selected 5 primary sources, and now, yesterday, we also developed at least 1 question per source. So for each primary source, you have 1 question. All right? What up, BW? Okay, here we go. Now, next up, after developing at least 1 question, let me go back. Today, what we're going to go over is how to write your introduction, table of contents, and summary. All right? These are the 3 things that we're going to work on today. This is almost like you already have the cake baked, right? You already have the cake baked. Now we're going to put some icing on it and some sprinkles, okay? And make that thing all the way good. Here we go. So, first up, we'll talk about the introduction. What is an introduction? So your introduction, this will be how you introduce the topic to us. Because to be honest with you, you might be introducing us to something none of us know about. So you want to give us an introduction. You want to roll out. You want to roll out the red carpet for us, all right? So this is what we, like Luther say, roll out, dum, 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 roll out, dum, dum. All right, here we go. So write your introduction to your journey. Now, what does your introduction include? Well, what you can write about in your introduction is the time period, the year or the years that your topic is covering. Okay? So that's one part that you can introduce within your introduction. Next up, you can also talk about your background, events, and circumstances surrounding your topic. Give us some context, have us understand before we start this journey, so to give us some clues as to what we'll be walking into, what we'll be approaching, okay? So these are some of the things that you can talk about in your introduction, and your introduction doesn't have to be long at all, okay? What else can you talk about? You can talk also about what were people experiencing and feeling during this time, okay? How were people experiencing this? How are they feeling during this time? And it's also important, one of the scholars that I follow, actually alum of University of Texas at Austin, he's a professor at Clemson University right now. He talks about how it's one thing to talk about a group, but it's a different thing to teach through their lenses. So it's one thing to teach about, say for instance, Black people. It's one thing to teach about African Americans. But it's different to teach through the lens that they're experiencing, to teach through them, all right? So here we go. And this is a perfect example of how you can do that. What were the people experiencing and feeling at the time, all right? Bam. Now here's an example of an introduction, all right? One of the characters that I chose as our example, and I'll show more about this on the website on academicwave.com. I'll show more of the example later today in class. Here I chose Mansa Musa. So I'm going to give you a quick example of how your introduction can look, all right? Here we go. So Mansa Musa was an African emperor of Mali. That should say Mali, not the mall. He is considered the richest person to ever live. He lived during the 14th century, and his land was filled with natural resources, which included gold. Now, you know what's funny about this? I actually pretty much enjoy that you're able to see even I made a mistake here, right? So the purpose of this project is not to be perfect. The purpose of it is simply to learn from each other, okay? So this is an example of an introduction. It was just 3 sentences, but it gave us context. It rolled out the red carpet to what we might be walking into for our journey. All right. So remember, at the end of the day, your introduction can include time period, background, events, circumstances surrounding it, as well as what people were experiencing during this time. Next up, okay, so that's introduction. Now we're about to go to the table of contents. Okay, so the table of contents, that's very simple, right? That's the same thing you see in front of the book. Any book that you read has a table of contents, all right? And in this table of contents for yours, what should you include? Very simple. Bam! It is a list of the primary sources that you are using. Just simply a list. That's it. Simply a list of what you're going to be using as your primary sources for your journey. So here we go. Place these sources in order, right? So whatever order that you use these sources, that's the way you want to place them in your table of contents. And then next, you can use bullet points or numbering, either one. So very simple table of contents when it comes to creating your historical journey right here, historical thinking journey right here. So I'm gonna give you an example, give you a quick example of how that can look based on what we've talked about before. So my primary sources for this example would be a portrait of Mansa Musa, a map of Africa, and a postage stamp. All primary sources that I have listed out in my table of contents. Okay? So far, what we've covered is the introduction and the table of contents. Now, last but not least, we're going to go over what your summary will look like. Here we go. We rocking, all right? We rocking. Bam. So what to include in your summary? What to include in your summary? Write a summary about your historical thinking journey. Why is this topic interesting to you? You can let us know that. This is really just putting a nice bow on top of the present. So you can let us know why in your summary, why was this topic important to you? What else can you write about? You can also write about what is your purpose of the journey? What's your purpose of this journey? What's your purpose of your journey? What is the reason behind it? What else can you write about? Why do you believe people should know about this, right? And this is where we're getting into basically grad level research, where you're stating a case so that you studied all of this and you think it's important, but why do you think the rest of us should know about this thing? This is something you can talk about in your summary. What's next? Bam! Why is this important? So not only what, but why, okay? And these are the things that you can talk about, that you can write about in your summary. Now, how would an example of this look? Let's continue with Mansa Musa. The example that I have of Mansa Musa, let's continue with that. So here's an example of a summary. This is a topic. See, here I go again, messing up. This topic is interesting to me. Uh-oh, bam. Because I never heard of Mansa Musa until recently. I think it is important to think positive about Africa and its people. Very simple, straight to the point, understandable, right? So it's not like you have to dig and extract a whole lot of information for us. Remember, with this, we don't want to simply learn history, but you want to allow us to do history, okay? So therefore, you're not simply telling us what to think. You just want to create the opportunity for us to think. So that's what we've done here right now, all right? So let's go back and review what we've talked about so far for the last day and how your process will look, how this will all look for your historical thinking journey box. All right, bam. The first part will be the introduction. This is the structure of your final project. This is the structure of it. This is the outline. So the first thing that you will have is your introduction. Next up, you will have your table of contents. Next, You will have your sources with questions, at least one question per source. And remember, I said that you at this point you can have 3 sources, or if you would like, you can go ahead and get to 5 sources, if you so please. All right. So what do we have next after introduction, table of contents, and sources? We have your summary. Okay. We have your summary, and this is the structure. This is how you will build your final project to present to us. Introduction first, table of contents, source with questions, and your summary. Now, one of the best things about here is that we're able not only to talk about what that historical thinking journey will look like, but I want you to see an example, and the example that includes Mansa Musa that I used earlier. So we're going to go here. If you go to our site, if you go to academicwave.com, you will see where if you go to the social studies course and you scroll down, in here, right here are examples that college students have done. Okay? Here are examples of college students have done. But if you continue, we'll talk about the Zoom presentation in a second. You'll also see where there is an example of historical thinking journey right here and how this can look. Oh, okay, that's what's up. Tell Caleb hello for us. We miss him, all right? So this is how it can look. So if you go to the site, you'll see the structure and the outline and an example of how a historical thinking journey can look. So first, it's sort of like the topic, the title. Next up, introduction. After that, table of contents, where you actually put in order the sources that you will use. All right? Y'all with me so far? Okay, here we go. We rocking and rolling. Here we go. Next up, we're going to go to the sources, to the primary sources in the order that they are in. So first up, a portrait of Mansa Musa. And here are our questions, right? So we have the primary source here, and your questions will go there. Now, if you're using another software or whatever to upload it, that's totally fine. The questions can go over or underneath it or on the side. This is just one example. Next up, my next primary source is a map of Africa, specifically where the Mali Empire is. With my question, how would Mansa Musa and people in Mali, in the Mali Empire, travel to different places? Just based on looking at the map, right? Would they travel by land? Would they travel by sea? You know what I'm saying? These are things to think about. Next up, a postage stamp, right? Which is an example of a primary source. So we're taking our time. We're gonna get into this today. This is a primary source that you can use. So for a postage stamp, my question is, why do you think a stamp was made of Mansa Musa? Again, we're not telling people what to think. We're just granting the opportunity to think. And last but not least, for this example, you'll see the summary. Okay? So if you go to academicwave.com, you go to social studies, you'll be able to see an example right there that you can use. All right? Now, remember also that you can post this journey, you can post your project on a number of different platforms. Any one of these work. You can use PowerPoint like I'm doing. You can use Prezi like I'm doing. You can use Microsoft Word, or you can use BlendSpace or BuzzFeed. Whatever you have at your disposal, whatever you're able to use is totally fine, okay? So these are some of the platforms that you're able to post your historical thinking journey box on. And last but not least, let's get to the big time stuff, all right? Because at this point, at a certain point, whenever I teach, I like at the beginning, I teach and talk a lot. But as class goes on, one of the things that I like to keep in mind is I want the people who are participating in the class to talk and participate more. So this is the great thing about tomorrow's presentations is that I get to fall back. I get to chill. I get to fall back. I'm going to watch your greatness. I'm going to watch your skills. I get to learn from you just as I've been doing the whole time we've been together. So this time, how will the presentation go? So the Zoom link, I will put the Zoom link in the comments and the description of this YouTube. So later on, bam, hold on. Later on, you're able to see where the Zoom link will be, and you'll be able to click it from the description of this YouTube as well as the comments. Also, you know that it's on the Academic Wave website. Next up, how will the presentations go? How will they be conducted? Here we go. Your presentation time will be 3 minutes. All right? We're going to give you 3 minutes. Anyone who would like to participate, we're going to give you 3 minutes to give your presentation on your historical thinking journey. Now, it might not seem like a lot of time, but it actually is. And we want to grant time for the audience to ask questions after your presentation. Now, why would I actually put 3 minutes? Not just because it has a good ring to it, because like I said, when we first started this class, we wanted to mimic, we wanted to have this be just like college, have this be just like a university. So one of the reasons why we chose 3 minutes is because this is actually something that people do, all right? So here, and this is a worldwide competition that goes on that began in Australia at the University of Queensland. So in Australia, they started something years back called the 3-minute thesis, all right? And this 3-minute thesis, people, specifically PhD students, people who are about to become doctors, talk about their research, but only in 3 minutes. That's the only time you have. So here you can see where it says an 80,000 word PhD thesis would take 9 hours to present. But here the time is 3 minutes. So we want to do the same thing here. We know a lot of work has gone into from our first week up until now. But just like PhDs, just like people who are about to be doctors, we want to present our material in 3 minutes, and then we'll grant the opportunity for the audience to ask questions, okay? So that's how we're doing college level stuff here. Is the 3 minutes including the question? Great question, Amaris. No, the 3 minutes will simply be the time that you present. And then after that, and we'll give some grace period, of course, because some people might just go overtime. That's not a problem at all. Y'all know we're going to be kicking it. It's going to be very informal. You can have pizza, laid back, popcorn, all that good stuff. A nice little Sprite, cold water, whatever gets you hyped, and just chill out until it's your time to present. So the 3 minutes, that's for your presentation. And then after that, there'll be time for us to ask questions if the audience so chooses. Great question. All right. Also, one of the things that we want to highlight is that we had a brother by the name of Daniel Thomas, who we know at the University of Texas, who actually won the 3-minute thesis competition this past year, went to nationals and actually placed second. And his thesis was about black male teachers and the importance that they play within our educational system. So this is big time stuff here, man. We are really doing big time stuff here in social studies, the fundamentals. So that's what we're going to do as far as the Zoom presentation is concerned. All right. Now, before we go, another thing, what's going on, Wimmy? How you doing? Another thing before we go with the Zoom presentations, what we're simply going to do is bam. That's right. You got to hydrate, and I'm going to have my popcorn because you know how we get down. If you go to the Zoom meeting, this is how you will come on, okay? Simply click both of those. When you are ready, you can have your bam, you can have this come up, right? And when you are ready to share, when you're ready to share your work or whatever you've worked on, this is what you can do. Because it'll already be up. You go to the share button. And if you have it up, you just click it. Like you see right now, I have my Microsoft PowerPoint on. And when you click that and click the share, that's when we'll be able to see what you're presenting. That's what we'll be able to see what you're presenting. Now, remember, if you have any questions, anything like that, email me. We can go over it. There are plenty of, I was going to do a tutorial on Zoom, but y'all probably know how to work Zoom even better than I can, right? The past 2.5 months has shown us that almost everybody knows how to work Zoom. If you have any questions on it, simply go to YouTube and see how to work it. Or you can ask us. So this is how we'll do our Zoom. All right. You'll present for 3 minutes. You'll stop share, and then you'll talk to us based on the questions that you'll have. All right. So that's how this thing will work. Bam. We're going to leave meeting. Get up out of there. Get up out of there. Boom. After the presentations are done. What's going on, Zoe? Shania, how you doing, superstar? Okay. Once the presentations are done, once they are completed, this is what we'll do. We're going to wrap up the course. We will wrap up the course, and I will give some announcements as far as what the people who have participated within the course will receive. Because in a lot of ways, I want you to remember this time not as a time where we were necessarily being stressed and panicking about what's going on, but a time where we really fed our minds. So I definitely appreciate everybody participating in the course. It's been awesome. It's been exciting. I hope that you have enjoyed it. And tomorrow, remember, so let's just go back over it right quick. I know I'm taking my time. I wanted to pace it out today. You can put your historical thinking journeys on any of these platforms. This is the order: introduction, table of contents, your sources, and then your summary. And then we're just gonna come on Zoom, present, wrap up the course, and then I'll make some announcements. And hopefully, parents, I'll be able to get information from you so that I can send those students who participated in a gift from Academic Wave. Nice little shirt or something, you know what I'm saying? Have it represent right. Other than that, I hope that y'all have enjoyed this session, the last class session, really, of this course. It's been 3 weeks. Coming up on tomorrow will be a full 3 weeks that we've been together learning, teaching, listening, really supporting each other in ways that we probably wouldn't have before. So this has been awesome. If you have enjoyed today's class, please put in the chat. So, okay, hold on. What we have from Zoe? Can we do Google Slides? You definitely can use Google Slides. That is correct. That is so, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. Our young people here just know so much stuff. It's not even funny. I'm still learning from everybody. So definitely you can use Google Slides, all right? Any other questions that you have, you can put in the comment section. Remember, you can go to the Zoom tomorrow at Academic Wave and get it there. Also in the description and the comments, I will have the link to the Zoom. Outside of that, man, look, it's been awesome. I can't wait till tomorrow. I'm about to have a lot of fun. We're going to do this thing the right way. Before you go, please, please, please go ahead and put a comment in the comment section. Appreciate it. We're going to pop our collar, have some fun, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Y'all have a good one. Thank you. Bye.